So good afternoon, everyone. I think my slot comes in just after a really phenomenal panel discussion, not just as a publisher or from a publisher, but as a student of one of the universities of Sanlek. It is truly amazing to see, to be a part of the other side that we don't really see when we are preparing to publish. And I'm grateful to have this opportunity. So I will start off with introducing myself. I am Gabriella from Taylor and Francis. I look after ebooks and journals for Southern Africa. Today I'm speaking on online platforms for digital libraries. I'm looking at it in the context of TNF and our partners and the content that we disseminate. And everything that we do, so our engagements in Africa, and everything that's so important to you all and to your students and researchers. So I'll start off with We're Taylor and Francis. But I believe that the experience or the number of years of experience in the room far outweighs the years that Taylor and Francis have been in existence. And each of you play a really important role in what we do as well as publishers. I've also just added in some of our imprints. So you would see the most popular ones are Taylor and Francis, the CRC Press, and Routledge. But we are also expanding on this. So in terms of open access, it's the Dove Press and the F1000 research, which I will speak to in a bit.
Yes, we're seeing it here.
Oh, we are, yeah.
So if we can just put the presentation up on the big screen, that would be great. Gabriella, just go on with the presentation. You won't have enough time otherwise.
No, it's not too long.
All right.
It should be good, yeah. Okay, so I'll just stop here and speak about operating at the heart of knowledge and information. The work of individual knowledge makers when it's realized at its fullest contribution, it's when others are able to make use of it. Okay, and it's still not up. On this slide, when it does come up, and in line with talking about digital platforms, we really wanted to speak to our digital platforms as Taylor and Francis, and the investment that has been made to be able to showcase these platforms to you. So I hope that I do get to do that. Taylor and Francis has also invested in South Africa, and we now have a team of, there we go. So I'll go back to this, yeah. So these are the 3 online platforms. The first would be our Taylor and Francis Online. This is where you have access to the articles through your subscription or in open access. Those are all available through this platform. You also have our Taylor and Francis eBooks platform. This is both for purchased, DRM free, which is your perpetual access titles, and your open access titles that are available. And the last platform speaks to F1000. And F1000 is our open research publishing site and platform. And like I said, I would speak to that in a bit. So next, meet our team. I am one of 5. I am sure the faces are familiar, either from current or existing discussions that have been happening, or even from previous discussions where many of them were with HSRC, UNISA Press, and Pearson, like me. So I wanted to start off looking at the read element, because we are still, and our agreement is still within read. And just looking at the development of journals in the digital world, our articles are not very different in terms of content to many centuries ago, but the way that the articles are available has changed dramatically. So what's really exciting now is that the research activity has truly evolved over the years. And if there's one thing that I know that is important, well, maybe two. So the first is that there's a need for content. And as students, we want to read and want to learn and want to be able to publish when we see that there's a gap. But more important than that, there is the researcher that wants to publish. So there's the content and all these researchers that want to add to that as well. The statement that I've put onto the bottom is quite profound in that knowledge empowers people to think, do, and be more than they ever could before. So looking at Sanlik specifically, I wanted to add in what our current READ agreement is as we go into the new phase in 2024. So in that agreement, many of the institutions have access to over 1,775 journals, and we have 29 members. These range across our library packages, so social science and humanities, our science and technology, and medical. What's encouraging to see for me, and I hope that this is something that's encouraging for you, and it will improve drastically in 2023, is actually the read usage. So if we look at how this has grown in the last 3 years, I would be really, really interested to see what this year holds and the years to come. With the read portion, and even going into a new agreement, it's still a fundamental part of your publishing portion. So you would see, and I know that many of the panelists have spoken about it, that the APC or sort of the APC charges that you don't see are covered by the read spend. And with this, there is that expansion to be able to grow the read as well and the access. And this is not looking at what is available in open access. So I'm looking at the published part, but only in terms of services. So the first would be our author services website. This is so fundamentally important for researchers and students wanting to publish with us. Important because this gives them the steps that they would need to follow, however, or in whichever journal they are going to publish, but the steps that they need to follow to be able to do that, and to ensure that the articles are not declined or sent back. The next, I wanted to look at open access in two contexts. The first would be F1000, which I mentioned earlier. So F1000 is an open research publishing platform, specifically for scientists, scholars, and clinicians, offering rapid publications of articles and other research outputs. The diagram shown is, or the idea behind it is to provide a route to publish a diversity of research outputs from across the world. And I'm hoping that the research cycle actually shows that. One of the biggest sort of projects that they are running currently is the Open Research Africa, if you would like to have a look at it. The next is the OA Pro membership. This membership specifically has nothing to do with existing agreements, but it focuses on publishing solely in our open access journals, and we have more than 250 of those that are available to be published in. You would see that with this membership, you're able to track progress through the dashboard, the publishing workshops, which are not just the ones that you see or you attend through Sanlik, but what there's more that we can do. And of course, this is just a look at the dashboard. And the last would be the Taylor and Francis online website, where we can add the institution as an open access member. I just wanted to show what that dashboard looks like for users and how, as the library, you would then approve and decline articles, be able to track the history with Taylor and Francis as well. So with the last few minutes and around the theme of online platforms for digital libraries, in quite a few of my slides, I spoke to different platforms, each of these used widely. And I just wanted to sort of speak to in summary form, the Taylor and Francis online products. So there's our TNF online, open access, which we've just looked at, and then the last portion is our ebooks. So with Taylor and Francis ebooks, you have access to over 130,000 ebooks across subject disciplines. These are published both in open access, available freely off the website, and the DRM free and DRM protected titles. On the topic of ebook access models, which I think is also very important, there is the opportunity to be able to have a single title, multiple titles, ranging from a specific year, a specific subject discipline, a specific collection that you feel or that the institution feels would be relevant to their students. The second is EBAs, and it's a question I get very often. We currently only have one within SANLIC, within South Africa, and I'm hoping that the evidence that comes out of that would be something that each institution would want to have a look at going forward. Our sustainable development goals, something that we have curated in partnership with the United Nations. Besides the paid content that you may have, there is also open access content that is available. Have a look at the websites, share these with your students so that they are able to see across different platforms what's available. Digital platforms, and I'll continue just shortly. Our Europa World Plus, which I see is used quite widely, our ChemNet base, our encyclopedias, all updated either monthly or yearly and available for access. The next slide is just to acknowledge, in the context of digital libraries, our partners. So a lot of the SANLIC members or a lot of the institutions access our content through our partners. EBSCO-Host, Gobi, Claravets, which is Oasis and Rialto, our WWIS team that have supported us in journals. I've put up the ProQuest LibGuide and then also our website. And some of these partners are also the companies that work with the proxies services that we use. So Open Athens, Easy Proxy, Orchid, all partners of Taylor and Francis. In the last few minutes, I'm going to end off with the engagements in Africa. And when I introduced the team, and hopefully you were able to see like their roles, someone for F1000, somebody that's only dealing with researcher engagement, somebody that's in marketing for F1000, somebody that's based in print. All of us have different roles, different focus areas, but one thing is constant, that TNF wants to be in Africa. And we're reflecting on not 15 years, but 16 years in 2023. We have 3 co-publishing partners, NISC, UNISA Press, and MedFarm. And I know some of them are here today. We have engagements happening with the Conversation Africa, a huge part of what we do. Within Africa itself, we have Research for Life, Author Aid, INASP, we have EIFL. Yes, we are a publishing company and for profit, but there are other ways that we are supporting within South Africa and Africa. And I hope that you're able to see that as all of us that are here work towards more researchers coming out of Africa, more editors and authors coming out of Africa as well, and South Africa. So engagements, and this is specific to SANLIC. We have had 8 sessions within the 2021-2022 year with over 2,800 people that have accessed those sessions at some point. E-campaigns, which we run regularly, and social media ads, where our members or the members of SANLIC and the wider community are interested in having a look. Lastly, our dedicated TNF in Africa website. This is where you're able to download the publishing ethics book for Africa, very specific to South Africa and the wider Africa region, and our librarian resources website. This, I think, is fundamentally important for you. If you would like to have more information about TNF, about the content you have access to, the models that are available, blogs, library insights, it's all available there. And I'll finish off just with our mission, which is to support, validate, and connect the work of researchers and other knowledge makers so that it can make the fullest possible contribution in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gabriella, before you leave, I just wanted to see if there wasn't a question for you. So let's just see if anybody has a question. Sorry, it's hard to see with the lights.